Genji is too controlled.
Because of what you said. I mean, normally I feel like I have to beat my old team because I'm like, I have to prove I'm better, but it is Dignitas, so it's like, you know, I didn't really feel too much there, to be honest.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got FlyQuest, we've got Dignitas. That's going to be our technically last game of the regular season. Then we have tiebreakers. So here's the ramifications of the next game going forward. FlyQuest. If FlyQuest wins, they have, as this is just loading up, locked in first place. They get sole first place, and a very boring tiebreaker between 5th and 6th. That's just for the lower bracket. Here's the exciting one. If Dignitas wins this, as we clear this on up, if Dignitas wins, 100 Thieves will have sole possession of first place, and it'll be a tiebreaker for 4th and 5th, which determines who gets in the upper bracket and the lower bracket. Let's take a look at what that playoff bracket would actually look like. That would be 100 Thieves going up potentially against the Team Liquid or Dignitas. So huge playoff ramifications if Dignitas wins. So stay tuned for that one. We're going straight into the draft, FlyQuest versus Dignitas.
Yeah, I think if Dignitas wins, it's a very big if.
Yeah. It's it's an uphill battle for them. Obviously, Fly already removing the smolder for Tomo, which I think they've been really successful when they've been looking at bot lane focus compositions.
Yeah.
Like when they have a clear idea of here's how we want to play. We want to play around Tomo. This is what we want to do. They've looked really good, like better than I had expected.
Yeah.
When they don't have that kind of clear game plan.
Yeah, and very obvious and easy win con to execute.
Yeah.
It's Dignitas' like best way to play.
Ooh, Senna first pick for FlyQuest.
Escape Iron, let's go.
Iron. Congratulations.
Man, I wonder what it's down, what it's like down there.
I don't know.
Anyways, Senna first pick, answered by Varus. I think FlyQuest is pretty happy about this one. They get the Senna and okay, the Nautilus is taken away.
Yeah, Nautilus taken away. Then you probably just want to go towards the Tahm Kench bot side, right?
Yeah, maybe the Ornn.
Oh, no. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I think Tahm Kench is probably the most likely pick here. Busio is the kind of guy he likes to be funny.
True.
Sometimes. He's the kind of guy, if something else is going to be played, then like Tahm Kench or Ornn, it's him who's going to play it.
What's the most creative pick you've seen from Busio, just in general? Because I've seen, like, at least in solo queue, I've seen Camille support or whatever.
Yeah, Camille supports. It's not that almost specific for him, but I've seen Rumble supports.
Oh, there we go.
I've seen like Nico's. I've seen a lot of fine things from this guy.
Yeah. As a reminder for everybody, Orianna banned. Azir is unplayable. So
unplayable.
Unplayable, literally.
It's just that broken.
Yeah.
Thank God, honestly. But it's a nice ban.
So that just means Jensen's going towards the Hwei.
Some people are like, oh man, like Jensen's like, that sucks for him, right? He can't play the Azir, but some people are probably so happy about the Azir ban.
Yes.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
it means we get more interesting
It's a win for
drafts.
viewers for sure. The Hwei blind pick is interesting.
What do you think Dignitas is going to use their counter pick for? Because usually FlyQuest on red side will dedicate last pick to Bwipo.
Yeah, I think top lane last pick would be the case no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, in this case, it's easy because FlyQuest just blinded Hwei in the first 3, so now just pick mid, and then the last pick top with jungle on 4. But even if they didn't do this, I think Dig was going to last pick top no matter what. And I think that's a slam dunk against Bwipo. He's like the kind of guy that giving counter pick is dangerous. He plays like the fine champs like Olaf and, I don't know, Darius or Trundle top. I don't know. Like, I've seen this guy play some fine things before. Echo top, Victor top. You know,
oh, no.
Cho'Gath? He was a big Cho'Gath
he's
enjoyer.
He's a big dark technology kind of guy. So you definitely don't want to give him a free pick, so to speak.
On the opposite side, not this year nearly as much, but previously, last year, Rich was known for kind of doing that too, like slamming. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm not sure if they do it, because like there's 2 sides to it, right? In such a crucial game like this, R5 counter pick, we're going to go hard counter pick. We're going to rely on Rich to play something like he has in the past.
Yeah, we've seen the Quinn, we've seen the Alawi. Alawi's not good right now, but still.
Or we just go something, we remove what he doesn't want to face.
Despite Dignitas being better than last year, relatively, I still feel like Rich has had a kind of sleeper split. He hasn't been as, important in their games as he was last year.
Just want to point out the misban from FlyQuest is actually a visual bug. It is a Gnar ban. So it's Gnar and Darius for FlyQuest.
And Darius is the team banning from FlyQuest. It's interesting.
We're setting up for the Udyr, I think. I feel like they're saying, Dig, you want to pick Udyr here, or we're going to pick it.
The Gnar ban definitely implies they're picking either Udyr or Cassante, perhaps.
Yeah.
I might just get a Cassante versus Udyr.
Oh, Viego. Viego being picked in for eXyu. So actually, yes, as we mentioned going into the start of the draft, it's going to be 5 pick for Rich.
I can't say I'm a big fan of like picking reset champions like Viego and Ahri against champs like Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's going to be either a Udyr blind pick or a Xantic blind pick from Bwipo, which means there's going to be a lot of champs that are hard to kill, and you rely on like, you know, limited DPS. You rely more on like burst, one-shot, reset, and then keep going.
Yeah.
That's so hard to do against like long-range champs like Hwei and Senna and 2 mega fat tanks like Tahm Kench and Udyr. And this is probably a tank as well, or some sort of like bruiser from Inspired.
Ooh.
The Graves.
Wow. It's a Graves pick.
I think it's a good pick, honestly. I think they need a little bit more damage than just the Senna and the Hwei, so some sort of bruiser or semi-carry would be good here.
Any form of DPS would be good from Rich's side. I was thinking Aatrox, but he's going towards just the AP hovers.
Yeah, it'd be curious to see the Mordekaiser we did see.
Don't do that.
Oh no.
We're gonna. Oh!
That like
Twisted Fate top!
He locked it in!
It did get nerfed on this patch, I believe.
Yes.
Second time it got nerfed in history, and it's definitely not as OP now as it was like 2 patches ago. It still works, but I don't think it's nearly as oppressive as it was before. I think you could pick something else too, like a Vayne top would be on the same thing here.
I was thinking about that. That's what we saw from Dokla a little earlier on. Actually, a question for you. Which draft do you like between both of them? As it kind of just...
I think both drafts are fine.
Yeah.
I think that the last pick top could have been better for Dignitas. I think something more like the Vayne would have been better than TF this game. I don't think that it's easy to make plays with TF against Tahm Kench Senna. It's hard to like find a pick against the comp that they have because they're so much range. So, but I think both teams drafted to their conditions as a team. So
I like that thought.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the casters on that and what you guys think.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the last regularly scheduled game of the regular split for Spring 2024. Sven is back there in the lounge. It's just me and Jatt for this one. I like the point that they bring up, Jatt, about how it's harder to play champs that want to have resets, like the Ahri, like the Viego, into just super tanky run man like Udyr, and then Tahm Kench, who just saves the squishies.
And then they have Twisted Fate top lane, which is a really exciting pick, but also just plays towards that pick playstyle. It's almost like Dignitas said, we want to do this reset, catch people out thing, and FlyQuest ends up having a very good team composition against it. But again, it's going to come down to a lot of execution. Resetting the stakes one more time for this game as well.
Okay.
A win means FlyQuest is the #1 seed.
Because of head-to-head with 100 Thieves.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Even though they'd both be 10-4, they're 2-0 against 100 Thieves. What's interesting is Cloud9 is the 3rd seed locked. So a win means the first round matchup is 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. But if FlyQuest loses, they're playing C9 in the first round. And we just saw C9. They're not necessarily in top form, but they still have that name recognition. So I definitely think FlyQuest is trying to get that first seed.
Exactly. You don't want to start off the first round of playoffs against the team that everybody thought was going to be the top dogs coming into the split, even if they haven't met that same level of expectation so far. On the other side, though, when we're talking about Dignitas, it has been 969 days since Dignitas last made playoffs in 2 consecutive splits. That's almost 3 years.
That is a long time.
Been a long time, and for Dignitas, they're already in. That's big. So they want to make sure that now that they're doing it, they're making a mark.
And they could actually get top 4. They win this, then they play again in the tiebreaker. They win that, they'd be top 4, and they'd actually end up playing 100 Thieves in the first round. So like the pathway opens up for them. I think they've been, even though they're 6 and 7, in winning positions a lot. Their early game has been incredibly strong. I think the longer they're together, the better eXyu is getting at kind of guiding the team towards victory. I think he's been, to me, one of the standout players for this team. So I want big things for Dignitas, and it's going to have to be against a really quality FlyQuest team here if they want to make some noise.
Well, worth pointing out, too, with the Senna and Tahm Kench, sometimes you see these two start with both going a Dorian's item, delaying the support until they do the first back. Didn't bother with that this time around. It's Senna immediately going for the support item. TK here to farm up. Really want to see how well Massu is able to stack on this one going forward. We expect Varus to be the stronger laner, but Senna obviously to scale up to the infinity range and everything later on. Also want to point out Bwipo's Summoner Spellbook on the Udyr. I think that's pretty important. Going to open up some more options later on in the game. Does have the Ghost Teleport default that you would generally expect. But a surprise Ignite or Flash out of nowhere, like Udyr having a Flash stun at a random team point in the mid game could be a pretty big difference maker.
Yeah, that's definitely going to surprise me when it happens, but we've called it out that it is possible. Dig some really good top and mid prio here.
Okay, Isles just going in. I said, I expected Varus to be the stronger laner, and Dignitas said, hell yeah.
Bro, 3-minute, 30-second 2v2 kill. They only use Ghosted Ignite. They get the flash on Busio. Busio did go kind of greedy summoner spells with the teleport, so they didn't have direct combat summoner spells. They don't get level 3 first. They're caught off guard. That's just so big for Dignitas. And remember, Tomo's coming off that pentakill Xayah game. I think one of the ways that Dignitas has actually been able to find wins is by playing through and around their bot lane. So getting that 2v2 kill is just going to enable that strategy even more. That's so big for them in this game.
So let me ask, I'm curious if you have an opinion on this, because we just looked at Rich's TF up there in the top lane, and he does have the early point in the wild cards. I see a lot of TF tops just completely ignore the Q altogether, just go for only putting points in the W and the E. Where do you sit on this discussion?
I absolutely think that's the play. Your Q without AP does very little damage. Your Emax all day, every day. Emax into WMax, then finally you have your Q at the end of the game, but you're really just throwing it out for fun.
Yeah,
it doesn't do much by the end of the game. You're like a 2-button champion. It's a little strange.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expect. That's what I remember back before they changed Skarner, and his E used to have that weird healing thing on it. That was a flash engage there from eXyu, but I mean, Jensen's already so far back, I kind of have to question whether or not you've even flashed that to begin with. Like, that just seemed kind of crap. So unfortunate that that's the spending of the flash there. He's going to want that one back, but it doesn't end up costing him his life or anything. Thankfully, he's not going under the turret, not losing any pressure tempo in the jungle. But up against Graves, you really got to make sure that you're using your resources wisely, because every time you do something that's not farming, this guy naturally farms so fast, he'll be getting ahead of you.
I agree, and I think the big thing there is he was just hoping to get Jensen's flash. Like, he would be willing to do a flash-for-flash trade, because when Ahri hits 6, then that prevents Jensen from being able to push. He didn't actually have the angle for it, though. I'm sure he's just used to players in solo queue. Like, if someone's willing to flash at you in mid lane, you usually flash away.
Right, yeah, it's the mind game.
Yeah, Jensen's too smart for that.
Jensen's been doing this a long time, man.
Yeah, too old for that.
He knows those. That's a young man's trick. This is an old man's game. Well, those grubs are all FlyQuest, though. Nobody from Dignitas in the neighborhood to challenge those. But eXyu, again, this is a very similar trade to what we saw in the previous game. Almost identical, actually, where you have the one team going up for the grubs. At the same time, the other takes Drake number 1, 5.5 minutes into the game. It is an Ocean Drake first, which always feels really good to grab early on, because it makes your laning phase just feel that much more sustainable.
Absolutely, and it's going to hopefully slingshot Tomo. I mean, he's got the Berserker Greaves already. He's going to consistently shove this in. He's lethal tempo on the way to on-hit Varus. I think, like, in terms of actually having damage to kill an Udyr and a Tahm Kench, an attack speed Varus can do that. And aside from the Hwei, there are not great things for actually reaching him in teamfights. So this is a composition where Tomo could absolutely carry based on the start he's had.
All right, eXyu just going to go ahead, keep that farm going. 45 to 50 in the jungle. Nice, another hook coming out from Isles. But Busio and Massu are back close enough to the turret now. It's not like you're just going to run him down and grab another kill. Tomo, 300 HP left. Still ready to keep fighting, though. Yeah, he is very, very sure of what exactly his limits are. And honestly, I love to see that. I think that's one of the most important skills in the game, especially for an AD carry player, because you have to be able to maximize your damage and know what's going to kill you and what's not.
And they might dive this. They have the Viego here. They don't have eyes on Graves, but they're going.
All right, eXyu ready for the stun, but Tomo's already killed Massu. Busio now going to be your next target. Isles may just die to the turret. Oh, no. Now eXyu has to try to get out. Remember, he doesn't have a flash anymore. Inspire's ready to follow. It just might be a collateral damage to end up getting both. Inspired, there's the kill on eXyu, but Tomo lives with 50 HP.
Oh man, the timing of that was just so tight. I feel like eXyu might have been able to suicide and actually get the kill on Busio if he ults in instead of ulting out, since Inspired came in to chase them down afterwards. I love the aggression by them going for Tomo, and now there's a gank mid.
Yeah, they force out those, right? That's kind of the play that it has to be on Ahri every single time, is first one forces the ulti, come back later, do something else. But Dignitas not afraid to play aggro against this FlyQuest squad.
Definitely not. Dub narrowly missing Massu. Probably would have got his flash if that one lands. All things considered, though, I think even though they lost 2 in that dive, their win condition is still going to be Tomo, and that's what they're playing around. And this whole thing was set up because Isles and Tomo were playing so well in the 2v2. They get them low enough. They just get the one shot onto Massu, deny him as much experience as possible. And then just like right here, how did eXyu end up getting level 6? He smites a minion, and if he skills R's right on top of that Tahm Kench. Maybe they have enough damage to kill, but then Tomo probably dies anyway, so I think they were just in a bad situation once Inspired shows up. Inspired really thought he'd be able to get all of them, but couldn't quite tick Tomo out.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't shoot collateral damage at Tomo and then also use the extra momentum it would have gave you backwards to keep trying to chase eXyu there.
Yeah, kind of trying to do all
you try to do the back and forth 180-degree headshot Call of Duty montage thing. But all right, either way, he still ends up walking away with a kill on the enemy jungler. He'll feel pretty good about that one. Dignitas 2-2, lots of action around the bot side here in this early game, and honestly, that's kind of what I expect to see keep happening when you have the Varus against something like Senna that just wants to play safe and stack up.
Yeah, and I really think this is Dig's style now too. If you look at their last, basically since the break, they've been coming out strong, really playing around Tomo and Isles. I think it's a strength of this team. It had been a strength of the team even before the split. When Champions Q was fresh and everyone was playing preseason, Tomo and Isles were consistently right at the top of that. So they've been putting in the work and really playing well.
Bwipo. Yeah, Bwipo versus Rich, still just... Bwipo also no points in the Tiger stance at all yet. Oftentimes you'll see Udyr's take a single point in it just for the extra attack speed, extra stance capabilities, but going up against the Twisted Fate, I can understand the value in putting one more point in the shield versus that.
And you're also just like never really having slap fights with people. Like it's all about whether or not he can get in range.
Right. You're never going to be slap fighting him because he'll just gold card you every time, and you're also never going to be hitting his turret because he's going to have lane priority.
It's such a weird start. The Swifty boots in the call. Like he can lane, but he can't really team fight. So this grub start is very risky. If there's a 4v4, I think FlyQuest is stronger.
Well, Dove wants to challenge him on that. Inspired trying to get away, using the ulti for distance, but Dove's got to be careful. He's only got 400 HP remaining. He has to flash out of the Dawning Shadow. No, but Jensen makes a massacre out of him. Spiraling Despair, and Dignitas is on the run. Isles should die here too. Tries to buy himself enough time to make his exit, but no, sir. Bwipo's going to run him down, and FlyQuest gets 2-0.
Just a disaster for Dignitas. That was actually a 5v4 in favor of Dignitas when they started that fight, because Busio was in base. After they get the first kill, Busio can teleport in and clean up, and just an unfortunate start of the grubs there. eXyu doesn't, he does get one, so he's gonna prevent the 6 grubs, but that was just a poor fight, and it's because of the items, right? Like even if Twisted Fate has a bit of lane prio, he had absolutely no combat power in that fight, so he teleports in, lands like a 12 damage gold card, and then the mid laner ends up dying. I'm watching it one more time. Yes, it looks like the start is good, but is that a red card?
That's a red card.
It's a red card, which I guess it does a little bit of damage, but you can see they don't even get anyone below 50% health before that fight turns around. Just a really poor engage by Dig.
And the damage from Hwei, too. He has the Spiraling Despair to slow him down, and you can see the burst. The Severing Bolt got cast above him right as Spiraling Despair's damage also hit. So you blink your eyes, Dove loses 40% HP, boom, boom, those 2 spells. He's gone. Dignitas, I like the fact that they're willing to scrap here, but FlyQuest are hands checking them right now. Let's see if Jensen can get away. Flashes, gold card's already in the air. Ooh, nice charm coming in from Dove. Tomo gets the killing spree, and that's what Dignitas wanted to see.
Dragon up as well. They can maybe get the second here. Jensen unable to teleport back even when he respawns, so I think eXyu is just going to start that one up. I was very ready to just do that whole Jensen spiel, like, we gotta shout him out. Everyone said he was 2 champions. He picked the 3rd and then the 4th, and then he instantly died. So I like mentally caster cursed him.
Yeah, that's a whole new, you got the psychic curse now.
Thought curse.
Yeah, you've been casting long enough that you unlock the new ability. You're high enough leveled now.
And Jensen isn't playing long enough that he's learned a 4th champion.
You unlock the new curse, he unlocked the new champion. We're all just leveling up here on the LCS today, as Rich is trying to keep on defending this, and I think I see exactly what you're talking about there with the wild cards. You throw them out, and yeah, they're there.
It's because you didn't need that mana anyways. That's the whole reason you throw them out.
My E costs no mana, my W costs like 30 or 40 or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. It's the W is 50 mana every 6 seconds, and you decide, I want to use 60 more of it to do 91 damage.
91. All right. Well, let's see. He's also only got 32 stacks left to go on that call. Down to 28 now, so that'll be cashing in sooner than later. You can see Jensen stacking up the tier here on the Hwei. Pretty easy to spam out spells on this guy. Get that thing stacked up nice and easy. eXyu did take the second Drake like you were talking about, so nice early lead in that department for Dignitas. Could give them some more breathing breathing room as the game goes forward is another game now with a Cloud Soul. And I actually think that I was talking to Azale about this, and he brought up how the thing's just underrated in general, because even without the ulti bonus, it's just 20% move speed.
Yeah.
20% move speed all the time is insane.
Absolutely. I also want to shout out Tomo in this game, as it looks like they're trading turrets. Like, he is giga rich. He's 5,800 gold. It's 1,000 above everyone else. Rich is very fast as well.
Yeah, it was a ghost for a ghost. Like, Bwipo popping the cleanse there. That was the Summoner's Spellbook trick that they were going to use.
Fair enough.
But it doesn't end up actually turning into anything. Rich was ready for it, so he can disengage.
Yeah, and I think it's all uphill from here for Twisted Fate. The Swifty boost didn't seem like they're doing much now. He can wave clear a lot faster. He's still going to be able to gold card. The ultimate question will still come down to, they have all these reset champions. Can they actually get that first kill before Hwei and Graves blow everybody up? Rich, overall, like, the TF early has looked relatively successful. It's given them a couple looks for potential team fights, and he's not been bullied at all in lane by the Udyr.
Yeah, but 14 minutes in now, plates have finally fallen. This is usually where I start to expect to see larger skirmishes, bigger fights. It'll be the third Drake, with Dignitas having already got the first couple. You know that it's at least on FlyQuest's radar. Hey, this is a concern if we let them get another one. So that's really where we will get to answer the question that you're posing. Can you get the reset? Can you get through the Tahm Kench belly and make sure that your game goes according to plan? Teleport coming in now for FlyQuest as they want to maintain control over this bot side river. Just guarantee that Bwipo's set up to keep the push going here in the bottom lane as Jensen is back up in the top side. Spiraling Despair on Rich, but not really a whole lot more to follow it up with. Just wanted to make sure that Rich wasn't able to run him down and kill him there as the Herald is started up. Dignitas saying, okay, we just saw Bwipo teleport into bottom lane, so let's go ahead and start up this Herald now that Jensen's ulti is also down.
Yeah, completely even gold. 2 Drake advantage for Dignitas. 1 core item on every member, and no big skirmish necessarily on the horizon. I think first turret can probably go over to Dignitas now that they get this Rift Herald, depending on what FlyQuest do with this potential dive on Dove. They got 4 people, and they're moving fast.
Yeah, inspired Bwipo, Massu, Busio, all ready to go down here, but Dove can clear the wave away fast enough, and because Isles is there, they know that you can't just full send immediately and go after him. You'll get him. It's 4 versus 2. You're still gonna get him, but you'll probably lose a guy for it.
What cost?
Tomo's trying to get out now. They want to catch him. The Abyssal Dive. Oh, his tongue is not long enough. Tomo gets away.
Fast Varus. Ghost, Flash, both used. Flash ult used by FlyQuest, but that's the whole turn that FlyQuest had to try and pick off Tomo. They're not able to get his pretty juicy bounty. It will mean that his summoner spells are down and he will be unprotected in what is likely to be a third dragon fight, but I'd say Tomo, very slippery this game, still playing quite well.
Tomo, all 3 of Dignitas' kills on that Varus, so they do not want to give away that 300 gold shutdown. Very important to keep him alive there. The gold is still so close. I mean, it's 500. That just, even at 16 minutes, that amount of gold lead doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's just, I mean, you could have that much of a difference spent in wards, right? Like, it's just not that big of a deal. But the Drake spawning now in 60 seconds, like we already hinted at. If you give this one away as FlyQuest, you're now putting yourself kind of in that hole for the rest of the game where you have to keep answering them. As Dignitas
Jensen,
is bringing in the backup. They brought up 2 more guys because they're saying, all right, if you want to make a play, you've probably got another dude here, so we'll bring 2. Massu also ready to reinforce for the FlyQuest side. Means a 3v3 up here in this top lane as Rich versus Bwipo continues the eternal battle of just really not a whole lot of interaction between the 2 of them. Udyr can run at you, Rich can stun you. Bwipo finally getting on top of him just a little bit, but, you know, takes that last auto attack. The wild cards unfortunately miss.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if he was Grasp or something, he could say that had a purpose. Because he'd be able to get a
I got a stack.
But because he's Spellbook, that was completely useless what Bwipo did. Still loses the turret anyways.
Well, sometimes you're playing against Twisted Fate top, man. Sometimes you just want to feel like you're playing League of Legends.
He's down bad. Like, he wants to do things, but there's really just no point, it feels like. Rich is too fast.
Well, they got the Ghost. Again, it's Ghost for Ghost with these top laners. Every time one guy presses the button, the other guy presses the button.
Rich, man.
Rich is
crazy.
Doing some goofy stuff for the Krugs. Rich is away now. He managed to use the ulti as an escape route, and there goes the Tahm Kench. Jensen dies to the back end of the Q damage. The Spirit Orb from Ahri. Dignitas nicely played across 2 different situations there. They keep Rich away. The distraction for FlyQuest is enough for the mid lane group group to make a move.
I absolutely love that, actually. Rich plays like a psycho down bottom. He has full vision on Inspired and Bwipo the whole time. And then he can even join by the end of it with this Twisted Fate. He's really a very impactful 0-0-1 TF. They get the 2 kills. Now they're going for Dragon. Fly doesn't want to give it up, though.
Yeah, FlyQuest are going to have a teleport to bring back some help from Busio. Yeah, FlyQuest have 4 men here to contest. Jensen has just now respawned. He's going to make his way down. eXyu has the smite, though. It's going to be a smite fight. It's claimed by Rich, but now he's going to be careful. He's likely to die here. Busio may just drop again, but Inspire's already got the first kill back on the TF. Busio gets away with an abyssal dive. Busio and the rest of FlyQuest are looking for even more, but they've lost Bwipo, Tomo, and the Varus. This guy, keep your eyes on him. eXyu nearly killed by Spiraling Despair, but Severing Bolt can't find the snipe for the execution. Dignitas still trying to get everybody out. Massu in hot pursuit. Tomo. Oh, no, man. That was... Oh, he's trying. It'll be a 1-for-1 there. Make it a 2-for-1 at the very end if Isles actually drops. Enough damage comes in through Ahri. It's a double kill back over to Jensen. 7-7 at 19 minutes.
Almost a perfect sequence by Dignitas as they're able to get the 2 kills early. They still secure this Dragon. I do want to see what happened with the smites. It looked like Inspired smite is actually down here. So they just kind of flip it. TF ends up getting it. And then Tomo was just getting so fed. Like, watch his damage as Bwipo usually feels invulnerable at this stage of the game on the Udyr, but they can shred him down. Tomo just stacks it, uses the percent health damage with the E, gets all the way to 4-0-0. And I think at this point, Dig really just needs to run away. Tomo, I think, saw the big play out of the corner of his eye that he's going to be able to snipe Inspired and then somehow turn this fight around. But I think his appetite just got a little big there.
Uh-oh.
I think the critical thing, they gave away the bounties to Hwei, so Jensen's online now.
Dove, nice interrupt there on the TP. Stops Bwipo from joining the fight, but Tomo again is in trouble. The Varus, when you give all the resources to one guy, that guy's gotta stay alive.
Varus up.
And now both bot laners of Dignitas are dead. The most fed member of Dignitas is dead. 20 minutes and 15 seconds into the game, FlyQuest is on Baron.
Okay, with Senna, though, they don't kill Baron very fast. Most of the damage comes from Graves and Hwei, so it's the top side of Dig trying to stop them here.
Well, Rich just gave him food delivery straight to the door. FlyQuest still on the Baron now. eXyu and Dove cannot approach. It might be slow, but the thing is dropping, and FlyQuest is going to get a 20-minute Baron.
Wow. The last 4 minutes have been so up and down. Dignitas was... Once they got that third Drake, it felt like the game was blown open. They had about a 4,000 gold lead. They were on Soul Point. But FlyQuest have just made back-to-back clutch plays, knowing there's no summoner spells on the Varus. eXyu's actually the one who engages the start of this fight, so he pulls Tomo into it, basically. And then Tomo just gets hit by that one tongue lash. Even though he has flash, the rest of his team has had to back up, so they can't peel him whatsoever. Jensen just continues to unleash long-range artillery. And then I honestly think they probably could have contested this Baron as well, but they just go too fast. That's been the problem here for Dig. After that 5,000 gold lead, they've just gone too fast. Because the gold is still actually really close, despite the disaster of the last 2 minutes.
It's still under 1,000 in favor of FlyQuest, and Dignitas is also still on Soul Point, right? Like, you can get a Cloud Soul and feel way stronger as the game moves forward. One of the big problems for them, though, is similar to kind of how the last game ended up with a Baron giving you total control over the map as an objective is about to spawn. Massu getting caught a little bit here. Rich tracing after him, but there's a lot of dudes wearing FlyQuest jerseys to back this one up. Dove's over the wall, seeing if maybe there's an angle here with the charm, but no. Dignitas still grouped up together. Again, though, the thing that I was trying to point out, Baron for another minute and 40 seconds on FlyQuest's side. The Drake spawns in less time than that. So it's very easy for FlyQuest to control the map and have priority over the objective. And Dignitas will have to answer that.
Yeah, really important. And I think Jensen's just gotten super fed in the last 5 minutes as well, so he could be the difference maker in these fights. In terms of straight up 5v5s, they go for Bwipo.
Yeah, they want Bwipo here, but that's the power of enchanting the E on the Udyr. You're just CC immune. He makes him spend a lot of time doing it, but they still get him. The cost is bottom lane. The tier 1 turret taken down by FlyQuest, and now they've still got 1 minion left looking for the tier 2. Rich has to flash away to avoid Busio's tongue and keep himself out of danger, as Dignitas still grouped up together here.
5v4.
Yeah, Rich is showing up behind him. Dignitas has him cut off. The tier 2 turret is going to die. Isles dredge line to get himself away. He does not want to be blown up before the rest of Dig can back him up. The Senna route will not find the target, but Dawning Shadow. Rich is nearly killed here with a very start. Inspire going off to the side looking for Dove as eXyu has to disengage away from Spiraling Despair. eXyu's about to die here first as Inspire drops to the Spirit Orb. A 1-for-1 trade as junglers are both knocked out. Dredgeline will not hit the mark as Dignitas are not done yet with the fight. Busio right back next to both his carries. Jensen, Busio, and Massu still grouped up as a unit looking to make their exit from bottom lane.
This game is close to as crazy as the last one. I know between games, Flowers, you're like, I hope we can't get 2 back-to-back insane games because you might not have the breath for it. That's the direction we're trending here because it looked like Dignitas had them in a 5v4. They didn't have all their ultimates. I'd say Jensen dodged basically everything. They maneuver their way through to not only get multiple turrets, but also deny soul points. And we have, I think, back-to-back bangers.
This is doing it, my friend. Rich going after the tier 1 on the top side. He'll claim that, bring the gold lead back down below 1,000 one more time. There's still the tier 1 standing up here, and Bwipo did not awaken his E in time to buffer through the stun from Rich, so Rich can escape back underneath the tier 1. That's going to keep him protected from Busio and Bwipo. Dignitas thinking if they might need to reinforce here, but they really don't because FlyQuest doesn't want to full send here for that just yet. The Drake Soul has been stopped for now. 24.5 minutes into the game, 20 kills. We're sending off the regular season right.
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to ask, but is there an item that builds out of 2 recurve bows?
2 recurve bows?
Yeah.
How do you shoot 2 bows at once, man? You have to hold it with the one hand and shoot it with the other.
Like, I could actually... Is there actually an item that builds out of 2 recurve bows?
Off the top of my head, I cannot think of one.
Oh, it's Terminus.
Is it Terminus?
I am so dumb. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's totally... To be fair, that item...
This is why I was afraid of going all in.
That item is built by like 3 champions in the game.
No, it's built by Attack Speed Varus. I should
Okay, okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Send the tweets my way. This is inexcusable.
That's to be fair. Hey, I'm right there with you, buddy. I didn't know either, so we're good on that one. It's the first split. It's the first split.
Champions.
It's the first split with new items. It's the first split with new items. All right, you've got at least. It's not a real excuse, but it's halfway. It rounds up.
We need to move on.
Yeah. That was the biggest problem was bringing ourselves here in the first place. So 11 to 9. FlyQuest still favored, but not by a ton.
3 minutes to the next Cloud Drake. Baron's still down for 1 more minute. FlyQuest, I think, stronger in 5v5s, but Dignitas still has a lot of damage on Tomo, especially once he completes Terminus.
Yeah.
So
that's a good item. Builds out of 2 recurve bows.
Incredible attack speed. Rich, as well, is starting to build fairly meaningful damage if he can be in range to auto attack. So it's really about how safe can FlyQuest keep Jensen versus how much time can Tomo and Rich have to cut through the front line of FlyQuest, because it looks like FlyQuest has started to gain some control here.
Absolutely, man. Tier 1 turret reduced to rubble. The Crypt Bloom, not the Clip Bloom, on Jensen, making sure that that extra magic pen just makes it so difficult for anybody to walk up, because you're looking at Dignitas' roster. Sometimes we talk about a team that has, you know, like a Renekton in top lane or something, and it's like, oh, they don't have a true tank. They got bruisers, but no tanks.
Yeah.
This isn't even like anything related to the Meatball family. You have a Nautilus, but it's not like it's a farming Nautilus with a Senna or something. It's just support Nautilus. He's broke. Yeah. So there's really nobody from Dignitas that can safely suffer the burst from Jensen and Inspired like you were talking about earlier. These guys are going to explode you.
Yeah, there's no true front line, so the fact that Dignitas isn't ahead now does make it really hard for them to start, and that's a lot of damage on the Tomo early.
But there's exactly what we were talking about. It's hard to find those picks when Tahm Kench is ready for the save, and Bwipo can just run through everybody. Tomo's going to be your next target here, but Bwipo dies, taking him out. It's a 1-for-2 as Dignitas again are on the losing side of the trade. Isles still trying to escape. Jensen can't kill him with any kind of a snipe, but Baron's on the board here again, and FlyQuest have the man advantage.
Yeah, 2 auto attackers down, so the majority of Dignitas' sustained damage completely gone. FlyQuest poised to pick up another Baron. eXyu could maybe flash in, but FlyQuest is just going to bombard him with poke while he tries to walk in.
It's so tough, man. The Baron does drop slow, so there's that.
Yes.
It's going to take him a while. Dove, Spirit Rush over the wall, really just trying to force these guys back, get in their face a little bit. Isles finally making his way over, but Dove's got to be careful. I feel like Severing Bolt kills him in 1 hit now.
Rich could teleport in with his ultimate if they delay this long enough and make it a 4v5. They're making it interesting. It's actually a bit of a flip.
No, it doesn't look like they're doing it. Rich is going bottom, Dove left up into the top side. Again, the power of the Hwei. If you hit Ahri with the Severing Bolt, as low as she was, I think she just dies. And they're not willing to just give that away like that. You've also only got 45 seconds until the Drake Soul potential spawns again. So I think on Dignitas' side, you just have to cut your losses here.
Yeah, and I feel like Dignitas was actually hoping Massu would step forward because they're the ones that wanted that fight. But the way it starts is actually you're exposing your two squishy auto attackers, and FlyQuest correctly are just decisive, run straight at them, end up killing both of them. It's fine for Bwipo that he died there because they still secure themselves the Baron. Now with the Baron, they can get that wave control again to set up for the next Drake. It's kind of rinse and repeat to what they did with that last Baron.
Yeah, let's see how much this one gets out of control. Dignitas really gotta stop giving away these Barons. I think that's my play-by-play advice for Dignitas.
At least they're not throwing at the Barons.
True.
They're throwing before the Barons. No, they're not throwing. They're not throwing. They're playing. They're getting a little outplayed by FlyQuest, who, with a win, will be the #1 seed in the regular season. That will lock them into #1. Even though they have the same record as 100 Thieves at 10-4, they are 2-0 against 100 Thieves, so they straight up win the head-to-head tiebreaker. Dignitas needs a win because that still lets them have a chance at top 4, which is the upper bracket of the playoffs. So Dig really want this win.
And for FlyQuest as an org, remember, this will be the first time, if they win this game, for them to be first in the entire history of the organization for regular split. They've never done it before, finishing first place before playoffs.
And they were so close just a year ago with the Prince Vikla Speaker roster. They tie broke Cloud9 in the final game, ended up losing that tiebreaker second, and things just went all downhill from there. So they've reset going into this year, now hoping to get that #1 seed for the very first time.
Control over the top side jungle of their opponents. Again, the Drake Soul was stopped. Dignitas once more trying to defend. FlyQuest looking for their 5th turret of the game. They'll take out that tier 2 here in the top lane. They've still got Baron for another 60 seconds or so.
Yeah, they're just going to break this.
The minions are enchanted. FlyQuest are forcing this. Bwipo is such a tank. They're just going to run Dove over. That is a huge kill. FlyQuest are not stopping.
And Rich actually has to come back there. No flash or ultimate able to be used by Dove. FlyQuest, they want to end right here.
FlyQuest is going for it. Nexus turret #1's already down. Isles is going to be hit by Spiraling Despair. He may just die. Still rooted up. There's your snipe. Jensen severs them. And now Inspired, the only one even remotely low, but it don't matter. Dash in on top of him, on top of him. Now you got eXyu trying to get away. No sir, no way, no how. For the first time in LCS history, FlyQuest finishes regular season in first place.
Congratulations to FlyQuest. 10-4 will get it done, and they made short work of that game. It felt like they were behind all the way until about 22 minutes, and the game ended before 31. So they absolutely just turned it on, knew exactly when they were stronger than Dignitas, made all the right calls down the stretch, and go into playoffs as the #1 seed.
There just was not enough answer on the side of Dignitas to deal with what FlyQuest ended up having. It's like we were talking about back in the draft. Dignitas makes these choices to go for things that are going to get resets, going to find picks, and then FlyQuest stops it with a Tahm Kench. They have an Udyr against 2 immobile carries and auto attackers in the top lane TF and the Varus. And once Udyr's not stopped from farming, he's just that brick wall that runs at you. If you're Varus or TF, you got one choice, and that choice is back up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were some windows where Dignitas had a chance to snowball the game, but once this gold got even, you could see FlyQuest could just steamroll them right down mid lane. I'd say congratulations to Jensen, too. He really leaned into the memes this week about only playing Azir Orianna, with Azir not being possible to play, and then everyone just banning Orianna against them. Lost with the karma, but bounced back in a big way here. Ahri, Hwei, 2 pretty good performances. Keeping the diversity there towards playoffs.
Right. You got to make sure you got to keep them guessing. Got to keep them wondering what else you might have up your sleeves. But FlyQuest securing first also means that they will not have to play Cloud9 in the first matchup of the playoffs. Like you were talking about earlier, Cloud9 locked into 3rd. FlyQuest now having first means that they can pick whoever ends up getting 4th. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what the playoff tiebreaker status
we have that really awesome tool that I've been using as a crutch to look at the standings. I think it's going to be Team Liquid there. I think we're going to have a Dignitas Energy match for 5th or 6th. But we got an interview. I think what I said was right. but we're going to confirm it later.
All right, right now it's time to join Raz, Massu, and Busio on stage for the interview.
Welcome, everybody, and congratulations, guys, on this win and clinching first place for this split.
Thank you, Raz.
First of all, just talk about the split as a whole. First place and your first split as a rookie. Like, just talk about how it's been for you guys, how it's felt, because it must have felt like a tunnel going through these 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, first place is good. I feel like our team is just really, really good. And like, we definitely still have a lot to work on bot. Like, as you see, we have a lot of early game disasters occasionally. But it's just really good that our team has our back, and we just need to keep improving because, after all, it's just regular season, and we need to be consistent coming into playoffs.
And what about you, Massu?
Yeah, same thing. It's been like a hectic, I guess, change of pace, because from Academy to this, the game is like a lot different. It's not really the same at all, especially with Inspired on the team. I feel like him, Bwipo, and Jensen know the game at a very high level, so it's been just like a race to catch up, I guess. So it hasn't been too bad.
Kind of piggybacking off of that one, it feels surreal sometimes thinking about where you guys start to where you guys are at now, like just in any conversation. How's it felt for you, Busio, just like where you guys started as a duo or as a team and where you guys feel like you are right now? The games are hectic, but you guys are able to solidify that first place spot.
I don't know. It's just like day to day, you're just like improving, then you're making mistakes, and you're like, oh, we're not improving, and then you're improving again. It's just kind of up and down, but like overall up. So, I mean, looking back at the start, it feels like big improvement, but just day to day, it's just, you know, just step by step.
And looking ahead, now you guys got first place. You guys are going to be going up against fourth place in the first series in playoffs. I know you guys haven't had time to think about it, but just Team Liquid, it would be that team. Any thoughts that you guys have against Jan and CoreJJ as a bot lane duo?
Massu?
I think when they're on their game, they're very good, especially in lane. But I think outside of lane, I'm not too worried about either of them, so it's okay.
What about you, Busio?
I mean, Massu said it, like, he out-macros them out of lane. It's over, out-teamfight, you know? So just gotta hold it down.
I like the thought of that one. Bigger brain on that one. Congratulations for that win once again and
Thank
for
you.
locking in first place, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
We got one more tiebreaker to go. We're going to be sending this one to the lounge. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Raz, and congrats to Massu. Massu? Is that their lane name
yeah,
now?
sure it is now.
Massu and Busio for their first place finish.
Yeah, and you can see 10-4, 10-4 still counts because of the 2-0. We have one tiebreaker scenario left, and it's these two.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because obviously both teams are coming off of losses today. But before we get into that and previewing our tiebreaker, we have a quick POG update. So let's see who won player of the game for our games today.
Surely Sniper got it instead of Quid this time. So third player of the game picked up for Sniper. I feel like they're solo lanes. The solo lanes 100 Thieves getting 9 of their 10 overall player of the game is very impressive. And then other than that, it's just a mid lane showing off, right? The Nico and the Hwei in those last 2 games were pretty big for JoJo and Jensen to pull out wins in the bangers.
Yeah, especially JoJo. I know that game kind of devolved where he had that massive team fight win, I think around like 28 minutes with a massive Nico ult off the back of the Kindred ult. Then it turned into an ARAM, went a little longer. I think the big thing about JoJo is that he's just so calm and confident, even in a lot of these situations where it looks like their backs are against the wall. Good quality to have headed into playoffs. And then Jensen, yeah, showing up on Hwei. And right now, obviously, we covered this earlier in the week that no one could catch Quid. 100 Thieves having a really fun one with Sniper taking it, as you see him in a tied group down with Blabber, Tomo, and Jan. And then Jensen and JoJo tied for second in Pogs for the regular season.
Yeah.
Now, let's pull up our Samsung SSD Fast 5 for this week.
Looks like mid lane's a little broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the
mid lane
top 3
is
poggers are mid.
very important.
Yeah, maybe it's just bot lane's not as broken as usual, so they don't get any plogs. All right, SSD Fast 5. In their defense, Immortals wins 2 of the 5 categories, even though they have played their final game. The eliminated teams actually dominated Fast 5 here, instead with the fastest legendary as well. Then Isles and FBI with fastest kill and fastest item.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, shout out to Immortals too. They kind of They showed up yesterday. They had a pretty good early start to today's game as well. And Castle in particular, I think, has looked really good individually. So we will see what they can do. A reminder that Samsung has partnered with Sleeper and Fantasy LCS, and you can earn bonus points each week for drafting the best performers to your team. Congrats to those of you who claimed that reward this week. Plus, use code SSD990Pro LCS through March 29th to get 20% off of 990 Pro 1, 2, and 4 terabyte SSDs. So, Jatt, do you know how many days it has been since Dig made 2 consecutive playoffs?
Long.
It has been
Many days.
969 days.
Yeah, that's a little wild. Maybe not a stat that Dignitas is going to be particularly proud of. They also didn't get the bye into the upper bracket of the playoffs here because they're now playing this 5th, 6th tiebreaker, which doesn't have massive implication. It is going to be some seeding for them. They're probably quite disappointed because they were in a winning position against FlyQuest and were probably thinking maybe even a little bit moving on towards the next game, but they fell short, but they still did make playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, as we see some kind of highlights from Tomo from earlier today, and then yesterday.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is this Dignitas team, we kind of covered it in draft talking to Sven, when they have a very clear game plan around how they want Tomo to carry, it ends up looking really good for Dignitas. Obviously, just as you pointed out in the cast, there was that kind of unforced error in mid.
Yep.
Once Tomo is eliminated, if you are playing these kind of compositions, even with the pick potential of that TF coming out of the top side, it didn't work out as well for them. But I think, yeah, the big thing to watch out for this Dignitas team is how they're able to play around bot side and also how they're able to protect Tomo in these fights as we look through his pentakill from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you've been bringing it up kind of all day that Dignitas has found this identity of playing around bot lane. I ended up mentioning it a lot in the cast as well. He's had such a big year this year compared to last. He had his interview yesterday with Mazel as well, where he was talking about the vibes just being a lot better for the team this year, and that's really enabling him to play freer on stage and have more fun rather than it being this kind of grinding job that he has to have. So you see that improvement. He was in a position to carry that game, didn't quite play perfect, and now he's going to have to bounce back because they're playing Energy in the next game.
Yeah, and Energy themselves are going to have to bounce back. They had a really tough game earlier today.
Tough week.
A really tough week, but in particular, we saw them earlier today coming out against 100 Thieves, and they had a really tough time into this kind of Vigar Shaco composition that 100 Thieves brought out.
Probably one of the coolest games we've seen in the LCS. If you're not Energy.
Yes.
If you're Energy, this is one of the worst regular season experiences you could possibly have. The first Shaco since 2017, which didn't even win. It doesn't do anything all game. They still lose to it. Veigar builds Shirelia's second, which maybe it's Dark Tech, but it sure didn't feel like it in the game. And they just get rolled. Sniper gets like 4 solo kills with the Olaf. It was just a total disaster for Energy. And it's not like their other games this week have been clean, right? They lost yesterday as well. They've just been having such a bad week where it looked like they were really kind of locked in top 4. If, you know, they do a little bit of something, they lose a bunch of games. Now they could fall as low as 6th.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because obviously Digger's still coming off of their loss, but I think they can very easily pinpoint, okay, you know, here's where it went wrong. Let's regroup. We've got this. NRG are coming off of, again, as you said, a really, really tough week. Yeah. Hopefully they have had a lot more time, obviously, to kind of refocus and regroup. Do you think that like helps or hurts in terms of they still have to kind of hang out, right, to see if they're going to play a tiebreaker?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps, and I also think with the way the playoff bracket works, this game is a little bit of a gift. Losing it isn't super consequential, but getting some stuff sorted out before they have to play an elimination best of 5 next week is almost more important.
Yeah. Well, we will see how NRG can do if they can recover. We are headed to break, but a reminder, playoffs start next week, and that means we will start live on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's 4 days, count them 4. We'll see you on the other side for our tiebreaker between NRG and Dignitas.
Thursday 1, Friday 2, Saturday 3, Sunday 4.
Sure.
4 games.